Archimedes of Syracuse was an ancient Greek mathematician, physicist, engineer, inventor, and astronomer. He was born in the Greek city-state of Syracuse on the island of Sicily in approximately 287 BC. His father's name was Phidias, who was an astronomer. Going by Plutarch, he might have been related to the king of Syracuse, Hieron, and his son, Galon. Revered as one of the greatest scientists to have ever lived, he discovered the laws of levers and pulleys, which allowed us to move more heavy objects using smaller forces. Archimedes calculated pi to the most precise value known. His upper limit for pi was the fraction of 22/7, and this value was still in use in the late 20th century until electronic calculators finally laid it to rest. As we can see, Archimedes was a man ahead of his time. He discovered and mathematically proved the volume and surface area of a sphere. He is said to have anticipated modern calculus and analysis, and derived a range of geometrical theorems including the area of a circle, the surface area and volume of a sphere, and the area under a parabola. Archimedes invented one of the most fundamental concepts of physics: center of gravity. The Archimedes principle states that the buoyant force acting on a submerged or floating object is equal to the weight of the displaced fluid. We can prove the Archimedes principle through a simple science project. First, take a wooden block and weigh it. Second, fill a container with water and have a tube pointed outwards to where the displaced fluid can flow. As you can see, the displaced fluid equals the weight of the wooden block, thus proving the Archimedes principle. He was one of the world's first mathematical physicists applying mathematics that he used to the physical world. He applied the method of exhaustion in calculating the area under the arc of a parabola with the summation of an endless series and gave a precise approximation of pi. In the 3rd century, Archimedes invented the sciences of mechanics and hydrostatics. King Hieron II gave Archimedes the task of designing the ship Syracusia. This ship could carry a large number of people, supplies, and also served as a naval warship. This was large enough to carry 600 people and had its own gymnasium, a temple dedicated to the goddess Aphrodite, and even possessed a garden. A ship of this gigantic proportion would leak a huge amount of water through the hull, so Archimedes invented a screw to remove the bilge water. This screw is referred to as the Archimedes screw. It was a device with a revolving screw-shaped blade inside a cylinder. He became famous throughout the ancient world, and so famous in fact that we actually can't believe everything that we find that is written or told about him. Archimedes' military inventions helped defend his home city when it was attacked by the Roman forces. He died during the siege of Syracuse when he was killed by a Roman soldier despite orders that he should not be harmed. One device that Archimedes was credited with was the Archimedes heat ray, also referred to as the death ray. This device was used to focus sunlight or sun rays onto approaching ships, causing them to catch fire. There is a debate of the credibility of the heat ray in the Renaissance age and onward. It was suggested that Archimedes used copper or bronze shields as mirrors to reflect sunlight onto the enemy boats. After gaining power, King Hero wanted to pay tribute to the gods. He asked a goldsmith to craft a golden crown that he would place in a temple. He carefully weighed and gave a precise amount of gold to the goldsmith. The goldsmith did an excellent job. He created a beautiful crown of golden leaves and returned it to the king right in time. The king was very happy at this time. He weighed the crown and saw that the weight was the same as the gold he had provided. Later on, however, the king suspected that the goldsmith had not used all gold that he had given him, but had mixed a little bit of silver in while making the crown. The king, however, could not prove it. He called upon Archimedes to solve the problem. He began to think of a solution, and he knew that gold and silver have different densities. This means that if you take lumps of similar sized gold and silver, the lump of gold would be almost double in weight. Silver is lighter than gold. While he was still pondering on the matter, Archimedes went to a public bath to relax. When he stepped in the tub of water, he saw that some of the water spilled out of the tub. Then the more his body sank in the tub, more water ran out. He realized that the same amount of water spilled must be exactly the same volume as him. All of a sudden, Archimedes had a bright idea, as if a light bulb had flashed in his mind. He had a solution to the king's problem. He was so excited that he got out of the tub without wearing his clothes, shouting, "Eureka! Eureka!" which is a Greek word meaning "I have found it." Archimedes then had two masses, same in weight, into the crown. One was of gold and one was of silver. Then he filled one large vessel up with water to the brim. First he dropped the mass of silver in the water. Water in equal volume to the mass ran out, and he had to find the quantity of water lost. So he took out the mass of silver, then taking a pint measure, filled the container to the brim as before. The amount needed to fill the container was equal to the amount lost. Then he dropped the mass of gold and found the quantity of water lost. He saw that the amount of water lost with the gold was less than the amount of water lost with silver. Then he filled the vessel again, dropped the crown in it, and measured the quantity of water lost. Archimedes found that more water was lost with the crown than with the mass of gold of the same weight. Thus was concluded that the crown was not made of pure gold, but some silver had been mixed in with it. The goldsmith was punished for cheating the king.